little clothing dysfunction today. About to start my run. Gonna pop a kratom gummy down the old hatch from mindbullet.com. Sorry, we've been out of a lot of your favorite Mind Bullet stuff lately, but we're stocking her back up. I like them gummies. Kratom kind of gives you like a runner's high without even running. Kind of nice. For me, kratom gives me a euphoria. Sometimes it can be something that helps mitigate pain. It helps me probably the most when I fast. So I don't like using kratom every day. I don't advocate for that. I think you should be really careful. The double shots that we sell, they're called a double shot for a reason. I actually take sips of it. Should be called the sippy shot. Because I just take little sips of it. I don't even do half shots. If anything, I might do more like quarter. Small amount goes a long way. But I personally like it a lot for more pre-run than anything. For a little while there, I was probably using too much of it. I was doing it pre-workout and pre-podcast. So it's a drug. So is caffeine, so is alcohol. Do it responsibly, and it can be very enjoyable. Anyway, for today's run, what I've been thinking about lately is that most of the time, when most people are participating in a sport, they just don't slow down enough. We just go too intense. Now, if I think about powerlifting, and most of the people that I know that are stuck in powerlifting, like stuck in terms of, not like stuck in powerlifting, they like powerlifting, but they're stuck with their numbers. A lot of times it's because you can't zoom out. So we sometimes need to be able to zoom out and say, okay, going lighter, that's no longer powerlifting, right? If I start to go with a lot lighter weight. However, sometimes you got to go lighter for a period of time to get better. So you can have better technique, better form. And so that's what I'm going to be working on here today, is just going to get a good warm up in. I'm just going to be working on form and technique. So even for right now, just going to work on kind of driving the knees. I'm going to go like 100 yards. And then I'll frickin' stop. Starting to feel pretty warm already. So just pick up the feet. Then we can just kind of practice some stuff, mess around, do some skipping. Do like a longer skip. Turn it into a jog, turn it into a sprint. Just kind of playing around. Because once the intensity is super high, it's sometimes hard to keep your form. It's hard to do things kind of the right way at full speed. That's what the pros can do. A beautiful day out here today. Saturday and Sunday, the weekend. The weekend is for work. The weekend is for you to work on yourself. Get up in the morning, maybe a little earlier than other family members. Get out the door. No hesitation, no pancakes, no extra snuggling. Get out the door and get yourself going. So many people say, oh man, I get so busy during the week. Well, you could hammer it pretty good Saturday, Sunday. Saturday, you could go on a couple walks, hit up a lift. Maybe Sunday, you can go on a walk run. That's amazing. Maybe even bring family members with you or friends so that you are now accountable to actually be there. Tell people, text somebody. Rather than being like, oh, it's the weekend, I'm gonna sleep in. That does you no fucking good. That does you no good. That does you absolutely nothing. If you sleep in a little bit, because you normally wake up at 5, it's understandable. Or you normally wake up at 4, I get it. But text a friend, text a family member and say, hey, I'll see you tomorrow at 7 for a run. Imagine being done with a run by like 8 o'clock, 8:30. Get the whole rest of the day. It's really a beautiful thing. So the weekend is where you can make up a lot of ground on people. Hello, good morning. So right now, working on bringing the knees up, but also trying to bring the knees in a bit, driving them forward, and having my feet straight. Head over foot. See the head wobble back and forth. There we go. So we'll do about probably 10 or 12 of those guys. Really been working on some marching, really trying to bring the knees up. If you're on a walk and you want to intensify your walk, boom, just bring the knees up higher than normal. Even if you don't want them to come up that high, you can kind of just lean into it, exaggerate a bit, but be surprised. That get the heart rate going up quite a bit. A couple other things I'm trying to work on is as I land, I'm not necessarily trying to flex my foot so much that my heel never hits the ground, but just trying to really brace for impact, I guess you'd say. And yeah, allow the heel to be soft, I guess you can think of. Well, here we go. Pick up on another one. We'll start counting from here. We'll just go strides on this one. We'll just switch it up on every one. For this one, I'm thinking about allowing my feet to go in front of me and behind me quite a bit. Pump the arms. Make sure I don't get overextended. Keep the face loose. This isn't that fast. This is like maybe like 7-minute mile pace. I'll just call that set number 1. I guess you could put this style of workout into a category of like a tempo work, tempo run, which longer distance people use and shorter distance people use. So I like this app, this Nike Run Club app. I know people have other ones they're always yelling at me to get. But this one I just hit start. That's like the easiest thing. And I think the minute mile pace is inaccurate when you start to really move your arms heavily. Good morning.
Good morning.
You start to really move your arms heavily. I think it starts to track sort of the speed of the arms. But still gives me good goals. It gives me some music. Master of Puppets. I'll shut that off for now. But I like looking at this pace, you know, especially if I keep the arms a little bit more still, it gives me a little bit more accurate of a pace. It gives you some goals. I like landmarks. So right now I know I'm going around a big turn up here. I'll go past the turn and then I'll go a couple lights worth and then I'll stop. Yeah, it tracked me at 323. That's probably like 20 miles an hour or something. I'm not, it's inaccurate. However, something was moving 20 miles an hour, so I'll take it. Or close to it. Probably the arm swing. Anyway, you guys know me, I don't obsess over any numbers. So right now I know I'm gonna walk down a hill and then there's like a little uphill. So I'm definitely gonna hammer the uphill. See a hill, give it hell. I really want to encourage you guys and girls. See a hill, give it hell every time. If you know that you have a pretty good hill in your area, go to it, man. Go to it. Go walk it. So I'm gonna walk that thing 3 times. Sometimes, you know, some hills are bigger than others, but you know, judge it out for yourself. Even if it's just a 40-yard hill. For some of you people that haven't run in a long time, give it a little jog. You'll be surprised. You'll be able to do it. Do not sprint it out of nowhere. You're probably gonna hurt yourself. Give it a little jog. So here we go. Here's the hill. It's coming up. Throw this in here for this set. I think on this one, I'll think a little bit more about my arms. I mean, I should always be thinking about my arms, right? But I think about too many things at one time. I mean, too much to remember. This is also nice for me to start with a little bit of a running start. Going into stuff. So elbow to the sky, behind me, thumb to the eye. Loose, calm, relaxed. That felt great. Felt really good right there. Arm swing felt good. I think I'll just repeat that. Concentrate on the arms for another set. So think about this in lifting terms. We go to the gym, our lockout on bench is no good. And you've been wanting to put 250 on there, 255. 250, by the way, is a fake bench because there's too many little weights you have to put on there. So no one ever benches 250 or even 350. It's 275 or 365. Hypothetically speaking though, if you wanted to bench 245 or 275, something like that, and your lockout is garbage, get about 185 to 205 pounds on there and experiment. And maybe do a closer grip than normal. So now you have a longer range. Maybe put your feet up, crisscross applesauce bodybuilder style, so your back is totally flat on the bench. Now it's primarily all arms, and play around with different positions. You know, some will say, oh, you can't bench like this. I've seen a lot of people bench crazy weights like that. So you can bench like that. Some people say, you know, it has to be, you know, elbows got to be tucked and all this. Not bad form technique. Those are all good ideas. But remember what I'm talking about here. We're talking about practice. We're talking about that Allen Iverson practice speech. I want you guys to practice everything that you do, whether it's lifting or your diet or running. Practice over time can help you develop a skill to where you can make the thing that was once hard for you look easier. But it's not really about perfection. You know, I don't like the word perfection. I think perfection can be the thief of joy. You may have heard that before. But you are trying to be proficient. You're trying to be better at something. So if you just play around with 185 and 205 on the bench to get to a 245 to 275 cleaner bench max, or to just improve your bench max and start to work your way towards 300 pounds, if you do multiple sets, probably somewhere between 3 to 6 sets of 3 to 6 repetitions, practicing maybe on a weekly basis where your hands should be, the exact placement, how much force to put in. Do some sets fast. Do some sets where you go, you know, you just move it as fast as you possibly can. And do some sets where you move a little slower. And just learn what feels good. Oh, if I bring it down to control, I can kill it on the way up. Good. You learned how your body works. That's awesome. And that's probably gonna be something that will work for you. So now you have an input that you can utilize somewhere else. You can also try elbows out and go, all that did was hurt my elbows. Now, here's one of the key factors. Remember, I said I want you to practice stuff. So when we're practicing stuff, sometimes things will be worse at first, but then they'll get better. Same thing with your diet when we're talking about fasting, dry fasting, keto, carnivore. Sometimes things are gonna get worse before they get better. And just remember, it's a practice. Oh, my energy went down when I did keto. How long did you do it for? Oh, you only did it for 3 weeks? Well, maybe you didn't give your body a chance to adjust in that kind of practice mode. So don't think about going 100 miles an hour. Instead, get yourself to around 60 to 70% and practice stuff. So back to the running, we're working on the arm swing. A little more power in the legs. Hard to express how good it feels. Just be able to take off in this body. Feels really cool. Feels really great. Very happy with that. So, something that's going to happen when something that will happen when you slow everything down, you're gonna have a tendency to go way harder and way faster because you got your body in this rhythm that feels good. You're flowing and you're going. Then you're like, oh, I can ramp this up. I can go even harder. That amount that you sometimes go harder will be better than anything you've ever done before. And you're trying just to do it calmly. You're trying just to do it in an easy fashion. The kid that can't swim, he can't swim. Everybody else in class can swim. People ridicule him. People make fun of him. He makes fun of himself. He's the brunt of all the jokes. He's trying to be on the water polo team. He can't swim. One day, everyone's throwing the ball around back and forth, playing hard and everything. All of a sudden, he swims out in the middle of the pool and grabs the ball. Just out of nowhere, because he lowered the expectations. No one was watching him. He was calm, and he was ready, and he was prepared for that moment. He's ready to finally do it. That's how a lot of this shit works. Sometimes our aim, like the thing that we're aiming at, we're so singularly focused on it that we make a lot of little mistakes and we can't see. We have these blind spots. We can't identify or see them. And we're so tightly focused on the thing that we can't just relax and maybe look at the situation and get a better shot from a better position, right? So, I know it's hard to do because you want to get stronger, you want your arms to be bigger, like you want all these things, but they'll come. This one I say, let's work on this head over foot. So keep pushing the head back and forth. Go this way. Oh yeah. Good morning. So now, if I work with head over foot, but also take my knee and try to get a little bit of a internal rotation, a little bit of a diagonal pattern, now my upper body is spinning like a top around the lower body. And we're going whoop, 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 whoop. I could feel it. It feels crazy. Feels like a pretty crazy stretch for me. Feels really interesting. This is the best way to train, in my opinion, right here. We go out, do some sprints, rest, do some sprints, rest. I don't even like to really, in my head, it's easier for me to say sprint, but you know, sprint a lot of times is usually done at almost at highest capacity. I like to float below that quite a bit, 70 to 85% range. But this next one, just kick it up a little bit. And what I'm gonna try to do, I'm gonna try to get into the front side of my body. So I really wanna pick the knees up aggressively, pick the feet up aggressively, tuck my hips from being like this all the time to being here. And now we got like this going. Or like here. And once kind of combine that with being able to get up tall, and then got a recipe for some good speed for me, I think. Everyone's form is gonna be a little different. Okay. So I look at these light posts here, and those are good markers for me to utilize. So I'm going up to the next one. I'll start running from that one. And then there's a kind of an ending post up there. I'll just go to the end of the road here. Woo! When it comes to breathing on these workouts, I start to breathe kind of whatever way I need to. However, these same workouts can be done with all nasal breathing. It's just that I'm gonna run for a shorter distance and also peel back on the speed a little bit. But makes for a really manageable run. So if you think, oh, I'm gonna do 10 to 15 bursts of about 20 meters, but what I wanna get from the day is to keep it within nasal breathing the whole time, that's a killer workout. A really good and a really smart workout, in my opinion. Beautiful day. Look at that orchard over there. Sun beaming off of it. Looks amazing. The way that I believe I'm able to stay safe for most of these runs is my thought on my technique. Not necessarily my technique, but my thoughts on my technique. I won't drive this body in a way that it won't go. So I'm driving, I'm pushing, and when it doesn't want to do certain things that I don't feel are correct for me for the moment, I'll slow down. Then it feels good, I'll speed back up. But one thing I'm really working on is trying to keep the feet straight and trying to get into the big toe in order to keep the heel straight when I'm running. Now, I very well could be going here and kind of staying there. And when I bring my foot back, my heel could very well be going out. But I'm trying to keep it more forward. And even that simple act, good morning, even that simple act of keeping it more forward is something that I think is allowing me to stay away from a potential tweak. And then also, here's the truth too. I'm not running. Faster you run, the more potential danger you got, right? So sometimes some of the stuff I'm doing right now, it's the equivalent of somebody saying, hey, I went in the gym and I squatted 315 today, I didn't get hurt. It's like, well, of course you didn't get hurt, that's not that heavy. So I'm not that fast at the moment. So it's gonna be easier for me to stay healthy. But anyway, I think some of those points are important. Lock in on a form that you think is good and effective for you, that feels good. Stack it up with your beliefs. If you don't have any current beliefs on your form and technique, well, look into it further, get more information, and then go from there. One thing that's a little bit of a trip is to, run on the street. A little weird. Get different feedback from the street. But I like it. I like being out here. I'd rather get different scenery. I'm learning to enjoy the track though. I like it a lot actually. And if I'm gonna get fast, it's a good place to learn how to do it. Probably realistically, like 2 more. Probably be good. You can feel it, you do these and you can feel like the pedal to the floor would be like there, right? But you go to here and it feels like you're there. So you know you're kind of done. Very happy with some of the results of the 48-hour fast I'm doing every week. Remember, I do a 24-hour dry and then a 24-hour water fast. Then I go back into my normal eating schedule, which is usually like 2 meals a day, maybe mixed in with some other stuff, like some carnivore crisps or something like that, like a snacky kind of thing. Maybe some yogurt or cottage cheese or something like that. Steak shakes. I do the steak shake hot chocolate a lot. The Total Carnivore chocolate or mocha. I mean, that's like almost every night when I'm not fasting. Yeah, so that's kind of how the food's looking. The dry fast, I woke up from my dry fast 2 days ago and had striations in my obliques. I was like, holy crap, this is pretty awesome. So I'm going to keep messing with it. Seems like the sweet spot is around a 36-hour fast for that. But I'll keep giving you more info. The way I got my arms going on that felt like the fastest I've been so far. That felt really good. Good inputs, no back pain, no pulling. Everything feels good. Smooth. I mentioned this idea the other day of training in the honor of those who taught you and those who motivated you too. Whether it even be a physical person that you actually met, or whether it be a superhero or a movie, kind of doesn't really matter, but use these images, these peoples and these things to train in a way that you feel really represents them. You know, your mentor in baseball, your mentor in football, your college football coach, your track coach, whoever some of these people were, you think about how their words ring out in your head still to this day. I have a bunch of coaches that were like that. Obviously, Louis Simmons, Dave Tate, guys like that being some of them. But along with Coach Dillon from Arlington High School, Coach Beams, both of my brothers teaching me how to lift, all that stuff. And then when you're up against it in your training session, you're trying to go for it, think about the time and effort those people put into you and do right by them. Do right by them by going the extra mile, going the extra little distance. They did it for you. They showed up every day, 5 a.m., workouts, opening up weight rooms later on in the evening, on the weekends, and all these different sacrifices people made for you to get to the particular spots you're at now. And now you have the luxury to go train and to go do some stuff. But a lot of times we're not that motivated or fired up to do it. All right, we're going to run right on the double yellow line here. This should give us a good idea of how much swirling I'm doing, car. All right, here we go. I'll never catch up to the one wheel. Oh. Cool thing is I feel like in good shape. So I know in terms of the speed, there's a lot faster levels to hit. But I feel like give me 2 minutes or so, I can recover and do that again pretty easily. So that's pretty nice. Having just increased recovery. I don't really get sore that much anymore. Really at all from anything. Now, I could obviously stick it to myself and make myself sore. But the training, the recovery, everything's lining up really well. Something of note, and something I've done for years intuitively, I always liked lower reps. Even in terms of training, like say like biceps. Say you want better hypertrophy for your biceps. Yeah, there's these protocols you can listen to. There's you can do things where you got your time under tension for 40 seconds to a minute, or you're doing, 3 to 5 sets of 10 to 12 reps to kind of nail down this hypertrophy protocol. However, I actually think that with heavier weights, we recover faster from heavier weights because the time under tension is less energy demand. So let's just back everything up just a second before I go and overcomplicate everything the way that I love to do. Let's say you got Granny, old grandma coming up. She wants to train a little bit. The best thing for her to do is to go into the gym and utilize low repetitions on stuff. The best thing for her to do is to do 3 to 5 sets of 3 to 5 reps. Maybe even just old school 5x5. Say, Granny, hop on this fucking chest press, you old bat, and do 5 sets of 5. Then when you're done with that, you old bat, go over to the leg extension and do 5 sets of 5. Or maybe even go back and forth, 5x5 of both. Now, okay, if she's never done that before, of course there's gonna be some soreness. And if she loads the weight up to be, next to failure on every set, of course she's gonna be sore, right? But if set number 1, 2, and 3 were kind of warm-ups for the last 2 sets being kind of difficult, she did 5 sets of 5 of chest press, 5 sets of 5 leg extension, she's gonna feel pretty good the next day or the day after to come back in the gym for more because she didn't do 5 sets of 10. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, it's simple mathematics. You're wearing out your energy system more. And all you high bird athletes out there who are trying to run and lift, a lot of you can't run and lift because when you lift, you're not actually lifting heavy. And you lifted heavy or heavier, you would have way better results because you can do way less work in less time. We can argue about how much energy you're expending because of the intensity of the weight. However, the volume matters a lot too. Watch out for some of these branches. Hey, thank you. Give that guy his $50 later. So, if someone is to do 50 reps versus doing 25 reps, it literally sounds like half the work. Now, again, I know we can kind of nitpick about how much weight they use and how much energy expenditure there is there. But anyway, all of it to say that I think most people in general, when you're training in the gym, should do more weight for less reps. Maybe flip your sets around a little bit. Maybe rather than like 2 or 3 sets, you're doing 4 to 6 sets. So you get a little bit more work in there. But also you're not going, full intensity. I don't think this idea of like you got to go to failure, brush up against failure for hypertrophy, I think it makes sense in an athlete that's maybe been training for a while and they're now trying to bring up something stubborn. But I also think it does a disservice to those people that are trying to do multiple things because you only have so much energy to do so many different things. So I don't want to expend all my energy in the gym. So I don't really typically do it with bodybuilding kind of fluff and puff stuff. I might do a little bit of fluff and puff just because I like the way it feels, which is a totally kind of separate category of things. Anyway, let's see. What I'm gonna do, I'm sprinted out, I think I'm good. So I'm just gonna jog. I'm gonna do a lap here, then I'll punch the post, and that'll be it. But on this jog, we're gonna be playful with the jog too. So moving around a bunch, high knees, staying on the toes, toes in, toes out, just moving around a bunch. Jump over some shit. Whoop. I got my shadow I can look at too. I like doing that and moving that shadow around a bunch. Kind of like, I say shadow boxing, kind of shadow running. I can see my shadow, play around with the arms, scoot them around a bunch. This way. Whoop. Morning. Whoop. Tomorrow, I'll get an opportunity to get trained by Hinshaw. Really excited for that. That should be really cool. Aerobic capacity on Instagram. Great guy. Worked with CrossFit for many years. Worked with all the champions. He's got like 8 or 10 championships. From his athletes, Froning, Frazier, Tia Claire Toomey, I believe. I mean, I apologize if I'm crediting people the wrong way, so I shouldn't even do that. But anyway, he's worked with the best. An unbelievable coach. And in my opinion, he kind of knows more than, he's a top 10 in the world coach when it comes to the conditioning side of things. And what I really respect about him, I find interesting, is he asks me a lot of questions, which I think is cool because he wants to learn more about kind of the strength side. If he's going to be the best in the world, then he's got to understand that there's a lot of stuff that he doesn't understand, right? And for me to grow, I got to do the same thing. And so it's so great getting around someone like that who's just on the complete opposite side of the spectrum. And so Nsima and I will be grilling him with questions on the Power Project. Fired up for that. Plus, you guys will see him on the YouTube channel where he's going to be training me. I'm working on 400s, 200s. I feel like I can manage the 200s way easier than the 400s, but kind of sounds sort of obvious. Anyway, that was an awesome workout. Going to go get a lift in and then go see a movie with my family a little bit later today. 13:40, that's slow as shit. You can see though, you can end up with a pretty good pace by walking and running. a 12-minute, 13-minute mile after going, 4 or 5 miles isn't horrible, considering that I walked probably at least an equal distance that I ran. Strength is never weakness, weakness is never strength. Catch you guys later. Bye.